God damn, girl, look at that bridge. You so fine. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Or welcome to a Let's Look At of a game that, like Kerbal Space Program, is going to give me a good opportunity to demonstrate my engineering proficiency. Obviously, if you watch Kerbal Space Program, I'm probably the best engineer with respect to going, like, interstellar engineer that has ever existed. Now we're going to prove that we also have the terrestrial ability to build bridges in a weird game that I found on Desura called Bridget. So this is, I believe it's an older piece of software that is kind of being revitalized here. What's going on with this menu? There we go. That's kind of being revitalized here, and there's a campaign to get this game available on Steam Greenlight. So if you're interested and you like what you see, you can vote for this game on Steam Greenlight. I'll put a link to that down in the description. But I picked this up on Desura. It was $5, and I've been spending most of my Sunday here building bridges that would probably get people killed. In any case, we are going to get started here. Again, I apologize for any kind of weird video quirks or resolution quirks, but this is an old game, and if I go to the options, I'm not going to just in case it restarts the game. But you can only run this game in 4:3, so if you see some black bars, that's because it's literally impossible to make it run in widescreen, but I might stretch it out. Anyway, we're going to start on some of the easy levels here. As you can see, there's easy, medium, hard, complex, which is apparently harder than hard. Oh my god. Just looking at that preview makes me a little bit nervous, but I've completed all the levels on easy, which took me probably an hour because I'm garbage. And you can see a lot of my solutions in here as well. And I've completed some of the levels on medium, which we'll show off as we get a little bit further in. But let's just start with easy right now. So when a level loads in Bridget, by the way, I'm not being paid by NVIDIA for this, no matter how many NVIDIA logos you see. Someone at Chronologic was, I think, though. So this is the way, the basic puzzle interface that you get whenever you start a level in Bridget. So we've got this like 40-meter gap here, and all we have to do is make a bridge that will actually stand up. And in doing so, on these early levels, we only have access to iron, but eventually we'll get steel, cables, heavy steel, and hydraulics that we can use to build drawbridges as well to let boats pass. But for now, just in its simplest way, we're going to build the simplest bridge we'll build in the entire game here. So step one, we're just going to build like a deck here, basically, or a road, which will allow us to, allow cars to drive over it, which is eventually going to be the test to see if our bridge will actually stand up to the rigors of everyday life. And then if we just, like, simulate, you can see our bridge is just going to fall down and be, like, absolute garbage. But if we go to edit here, and try the simulation again, you can see this is just simply not going to work. So we need to add some kind of supports. So I'm just going to do a very simple but elegant bridge here. We'll put some supports like this. Maybe that'll work. Nope, still too much weight, and it just comes crashing down, as you can see. By the way, just by clicking this, I can toggle so we can see how much stress there is on each of the joints to determine where the breakage is. Maybe we put another support here. This might be enough. And hey, it looks like that is going to be enough. So what we can do now is test. And assuming we survive these cars driving over the bridge, which we do without any problems whatsoever, you can see down here in the bottom left, test passed, so we have completed the level. But let's try to make it a little bit crazier just to see. I guess with only iron, there's not too much we can do to make this bridge crazier. But we could go, I don't know, do something like this maybe, and see if maybe this will work. I'm not going to get too crazy here. That's also, like, super unsymmetrical, which gets my OCD working like this. This is as crazy as we're gonna get. Bridge making, not that crazy of an endeavor, apparently. Does this work? No, it does not. Okay, let's try it again. Maybe with, like, a support here and here. This is not as elegant or as good of a bridge as last time, and it's possible these cars will actually cause so much stress. Nope, we succeeded there. Our score should be less, though, because we used more materials. Anyway, let's boot into the second level here, actually. This one took me fucking forever to do, and you can see that my design here is pretty awful. Basically, I suck at Bridget. Let's get that out of the way. I beat Easy 1 on, like, my first attempt. Easy 2 took me, like, half an hour. I resisted the temptation to look up solutions on YouTube. We're just gonna delete our design here. I don't know if there's a faster way to delete. It seems like that would be certainly welcomed, but I don't know if it exists yet. So basically, I'm just right-clicking on all of this stuff right here to get it to go away. But yeah, as with like the disclaimer that I had in my Kerbal Space Program videos, I have no experience in engineering. I think I told this story in the Kerbal Space Program videos, but I went to kind of like a weird grade 7 and 8 program for like science and engineering for both years, and we'd always do these like building challenges, and one of them, like, our teacher just gave us a deck of cards and then like a bunch of toothpicks or something. It was like, see how high you can build a house of cards using these two structures, and by the end, all of my like grandiose ideas completely failed, and I just ripped the cards in half and then piled them on top of each other, and it ended up being shorter than if I'd actually just piled all the cards on top of one another in the box. So my engineering skill is pretty weak. That's definitely not my strength, but I'm working on it here. In lieu of getting a real engineering education, I figured $5 is a good investment for Bridget versus, you know, $60,000 for an engineering degree. So now we have access to steel, and I should talk about now this budgetary restriction down here at the bottom. So you can see budget 15,000. I'm not sure if that's dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars, because really, $15,000 to build a 120-meter bridge across the Grand Canyon seems pretty light. But in any case, this provides us with our main restriction in terms of, you know, building our concepts into reality, because steel is super strong. However, it is also super expensive. Let's see if this will actually work. Oh, it seems like it might hold. Let's play here. We got some cars coming across. No trains, and that's actually going to be a pretty good solution there. So test passed. Let's go back into... let's go for something like easy 5, and then we'll start working on the medium levels, just so I can show you how difficult the game gets. So this is a level where we're actually dealing with underwater struts, or underwater anchor points, as these like white balls are called. White Balls, the Northern Lion story. I don't even want to add, like, a subtitle to that. How about White Balls, the Northern Lion story, making sure you don't injure yourself when you bleach your testicles. Testicular bleaching, by the way, sounds like a great name for a punk band or something. But anyway, we are going to use these underwater structures, or underwater struts, I should say, or anchor points, to basically build, like, a basket, if that makes any sense. I want to get something like this going. Like that. This might seem crazy for now. It might actually be crazy, I don't know. And then we're just gonna use a little bit more iron. Iron is weak but cheap. And we're gonna set up like a system like so. And then we're gonna have this load entirely borne by steel down here. So we'll put steel, 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 and then steel from here to here, and steel from here to here. Now I think this should be strong enough. I can't make steel from these anchor points, but I don't think that's necessary. Good! That is a surprisingly strong bridge, actually. And we're going to see if cars can go... Oh, this is a truck bridge. That's okay, though. Surprisingly elegant. Again, that's probably my high score on that level. My last bridge was not that elegant. But anyway, let's go back to medium here and start doing things up. So medium 1 was fairly easy. Medium 2 is the first bridge that we've actually had to build using cables, and this took me like half an hour in its own right. As you can see, my existing bridge here is far from simplistic. It's pretty gaudy and ugly. But this is the first bridge where we had to use cables, so I'm going to simulate this just to make... Oh my god. What a fucking disaster. I think, yeah, this is a train bridge, and we've got to let 2 trains get over this. And that... A lot of these joints are not looking particularly strong. But I have no idea how to really use cables effectively. Let's try to build this bridge from scratch a little bit better now that I have a little bit more experience. But seriously, this level held me up. And again, NVIDIA apparently paid a huge part in sponsoring this game, as did Oron. I have no idea what that is. This is definitely a game that feels like it's come out of like the late 90s with all of the... Well, I mean, just graphically, it's pretty simplistic, as you can tell. And again, I don't know anything about the history of this game. I assume it was like a simulation game from 10 years ago or 12 years ago that's now finding new life. I don't know why this is on Steam Greenlight. I don't know why it's on Desura, but I'm glad it is, because I'm actually... You know, it's not as crazy or zany as Kerbal Space Program, but I'm having a lot of fun with it regardless. I think it's kind of a hilarious time in the same way those games are, because when things go wrong, not only do they go hilariously wrong, but it's also kind of a slight on your intelligence, which makes it funny. So we do have cables now. And again, I have no idea how to make these cables work, so normally, my reasoning when I first started playing was like, shouldn't we just set it up like this? Because if the cables are tight, that should prove to be the strongest possibility, right? Like, we'll just string the cables across like so. But then I believe that the part in the middle will just fall down. Yeah, that's pretty goddamn disastrous. Luckily, there was nobody on the bridge at that time. But then if we string cables like this, it still just falls down. So this represents a big problem for me. So I think when I first did this, I basically just strung as many cables as I possibly could. But I can't feel the free body diagram on this. Let's just undo for a while. So I think what I ended up doing on this one was just trying to like create my own style of bridge, which, as you saw from like the earliest bridge that we did, is just right click here, something like this. Again, believe it or not, I have no experience whatsoever in bridge building. So even if you are an amateur bridgeologist, this game can appeal to you. How did I do it? Like this, and like this, and then like so. Okay, so it's something like this, and then it'll crash, obviously. But at least this part on the left side is, and the right side is okay. So we just need something in the middle to get it to stay up. And I think what I did here is I put, like, cables like this. And in doing so, the bridge will stay up and everybody is gonna die in a horrible accident. Okay, maybe it was like this? Maybe we just used iron for, like, almost all of it? Could we just get by using iron for all of it? We might be able to, actually. Fuck the cables. Completely unnecessary. We'll see if this train can actually make it over. That middle joint is not doing so hot. Oh, it might be able to make it. Choo-choo, motherfuckers. There's some guy playing Train Simulator right now. Unprecedented integration of multiplayer technology. Alright, that bridge is going to be strong enough, but since we didn't use any cables, I feel like a scumbag. So let's get rid of this, and we'll try to put a cable in here, and maybe a single cable is enough to, completely fuck up my design. What if I kept iron here, like this, but then got rid of these two, and put some cables in there instead? People like a cable bridge, man. It makes them feel secure. Alright, we're gonna see if this is gonna work. I'm expecting that middle part to bend pretty substantially. Oh, you can do it! Barely! You can barely do it! But I think it's gonna work. Yeah. That's right, train. Choo-choo. Choo fucking choo. You're alive, and your precious cargo of the final shipment of Hostess Twinkies is gonna arrive at Costco on time. Let's do medium 3, because this is the last one that I did. Then we'll try to build a new bridge on medium 4, and you will see how god-awful I am. Let me put some hydraulics down here just so you can see. This is the first mission, if I go to details, where we've had to build a drawbridge. So build an 80-meter drawbridge suitable for cars and boats. So, if I just simulate this now and play it, you'll see what happens. Basically, using steel and iron, I've created a bridge that cars can go across, but when cars are done going across, the drawbridge will actually function, and a boat can fit through, albeit just barely. And that's always a pain in the ass. When that boat seems remarkably small for this channel, but I guess it's delivering windmills over there. And again, the cars are going to go across, and you can see that this worked out totally fine for us. Let's completely throw this worthwhile design out the window. I gotta manually get rid of all this stuff. And try to build it from the ground up. I guess I can keep the deck or the road in place, because that's not going to change. But first thing we want to do, if I go to iron here, which is what I built my deck with, we want to include a brake joint. This is just where the hydraulics will pull on and where the road will break in order to make a path for the bridge to, you know, go up and the ship to go through. Then, we want to have some hydraulics. So having hydraulics like, oh, I can't, okay, we'll build a frame first. So again, we use some iron here, iron just to build like the basic structure, like so. And then steel to build like the reinforcements, like this, because steel is a little bit stronger, of course. Then we should be able to build hydraulics. So if we put hydraulic like this, that doesn't work. Okay, if we get rid of the iron and put hydraulic like this, and hydraulics like this, that should pull it up, but I have a feeling this bridge is just going to collapse. Oh, it actually held strong. That is better than the one I previously made. So let's see if this one actually holds up to the rigors of cars going across. So far, so good. You know what I found in my time with this game so far is that sometimes... Oh, no! Oh, boat. Now's not the time. Seriously, that was not cool, man. I realize we've all got places to be, but seriously. That boat just doesn't give a fuck. So this is just gonna crash or collapse. What we need to do is maybe set up another strut here with steel that will potentially keep it together. I mean, this thing can handle cars, no problem. It's only when it draws up that it starts to fall apart. So let's see if this works. Hit play, we'll see cars going across it. Absolutely no problem for a bridge to handle. Come on, hydraulics. Oh, it looks better, except for that whole crashing into the water part. It's like that steel is not... What's the problem here? I think the problem is this thing. They pull up, and then this... Maybe if we get rid of that, this will just work? Although I'm pretty sure this is still... Oh, okay, that was a bad idea. Okay, we need the steel. There's no question about that. But we also need, like, some reinforcement down here, I think. Like this, maybe. Some extra steel, like so. Just to keep this bridge strong when it starts to pull up. Because once we take away this iron bar, it just collapses. And we have to get rid of that iron bar, or sorry, steel bar, in order for the drawbridge to work, I think. Could we also use, like, some steel? Why don't we just create, like, another steel brace here. It's costing us a lot of money here, but, you know, there's no compromising when it comes to safety. Or so I hear from my boss. Here we go. Okay, it's holding. That's not good. I don't like this thing being down here. But we're gonna play this and see if cars can handle it. Or if it can handle cars, I guess I should say. This club can't even handle... Oh, Jesus! Alright, and then the world's biggest asshole of a boat is just gonna come through. Completely destroy all of our raw materials. Just take a shit on them, basically. Okay, so we need to seriously, like, undo this here. Something is going terribly wrong. Will this just not work? Okay, well, I mean, this just fell into the water right away, but that's not a huge problem. This seems a little bit safer. The only problem is when these pull up, it just falls into the water because there's, like, nothing supporting it. Do I have any cables? No. If I get rid of this, it'll just fall. There's no question about that. Unless maybe something like this will work. This makes it heavier, so I really don't imagine that it is gonna work. And let's get rid of this and put it here instead. Same thing. Oh, yeah, why not use like an N bracket here? I don't know what I'm talking about. But there's okay. But you know what? We're gonna go back. Why don't we try to do medium 4 instead? Build a majestic 120 meter suspension bridge for cars using iron, heavy steel, cable, and suspension cable. Alright, majestic bridges are my specialty. This is the longest bridge I've ever had to build. We're gonna use iron for our deck here because it's super cheap. And we'll just do it like so. The grid view is very nice in order to make it possible for me to see what the heck's going on. Now, what do we need heavy steel for? Perhaps heavy steel is super expensive, as you can see. But perhaps it will also mark or make for a beautiful suspension bridge for us, potentially. So I'm thinking we want to go like, oh, maybe make this one a little smaller. Get rid of that anchor point. Trying to build like the Golden Gate Bridge here, so we want it to be... Oh, you know what we want? I completely suck at building bridges. 1 second. Iron here to build this up. And then I think we want like big heavy steel in the middle, like this. Which one's the middle? Like this and like this. So surrounding the middle. And then we want just regular steel. Oh, we don't have regular steel. Okay. That's okay. We'll just use heavy steel for the rest. Although it is pretty expensive. Like this. And then like this. And like this. I think this is going to make for a bridge that does not work and looks awful. But hey, that's pretty much my specialty when it comes to games like this. Alright, so we're going to run suspension cable. Like this, down to here. Oh, and then we want it to... Oh man, I've never dealt with this outside of the tutorial. All of a sudden, this seems like a terrible idea. So we want it to bend, like, sure, this looks fantastic so far. So suspension cable doesn't just hang like regular cable, we can actually cause it to take on a shape, which adds, of course, another level of possibility for me to fuck up, which is how this is looking right now, like the worst piece of shit ever made. There we go. Would you ride on this bridge? I would never ride on this bridge in my whole life. I've completely botched this, by the way. Like, it's not even symmetrical. Simulate! Beautiful! That was fantastic. Cable's held. I'll give it that, but we need to, like, completely undo this entire piece of garbage. Okay. Let's think about this. We have iron. Iron's always important. So, just why not create just, like, a standard bridge first, because basically we have the resources for it. Now, there's no way this is gonna hold. There's no question about that. But, by creating a setup kind of like this, maybe we will have a good foundation for the future. So, like this. And we'll try to work on some method of load distribution, because this will just fall, obviously. And then we run, like, suspension cable, like this, all the way through to the end. And we cause it to just dip down a little bit. This looks like garbage. Will it hold? Absolutely not. What if we... Oh, man, what have I done? What am I doing here, JJ? This is a fucking disaster already. What if we put suspension cable... What if we get rid of all this? Maybe we should keep one in the middle? But apart from that, get rid of all this. So let's make these out of heavy steel instead. Everyone watching this right now is like, what are you doing? You are insane. So we'll put heavy steel up here. That, and then we'll put some heavy steel in the middle as well. And I can't possibly see how this would fail. Unless the heavy steel completely fucks me up, which is not outside of the realm of possibility. Put this down. Oh! I'm over budget already. Well, that's not good because I have to build a fuck ton of suspension cables. So, will this even hold? Sort of. If we're being polite. Let's put the suspension cable like so. The suspension cable's pretty expensive. That looks like it'll hold. That looks better than the ones I've made, at least. By my estimations. This looks stronger to me. It might not be stronger, but it certainly looks stronger. And then I think I have an idea, actually. Let's have suspension cable running here. And sure, that's fine. Just keep it like so. And then suspension cable running here. And again, I think that's fine. Just like standard, straight. Oh, it's better. It's better. We're making progress. Let's try that again. It holds for a second until the middle absolutely falls out. So I think what we need after that is just cable. We're getting pretty close to our limit here in terms of money. But just like a long-running cable here and here might be enough. Simulate. Oh, okay, that's a more violent death, but a death nonetheless. What if we just got rid of all this iron? Like, this iron doesn't seem to be doing me too much good right now. So we'll see. Again, still a little off, obviously. Let's just use more and more cables, which will inevitably solve the problem. It's like putting extra, like, paper mache wouldn't work, so you just tape the paper onto the school project. Exactly like that. And this will be a majestic bridge. It'll look like a starburst or something. Not the candy, the actual, like, graphical effect. Anyway. So just keep this up like so. I don't understand how this could collapse now. Well, the game told me away. We still have a... No, we don't have very much money at all, actually. What if we got rid of, like, all of these tiny cables that are possibly not that load-bearing and replaced it with a couple of suspension cables that cost a lot more, but are, however, much, much better. Sure, let's put the suspension cables up like this. And then build another one over here. Same thing. Beautiful. Oh, you can't build it. It's too expensive. How about we can build it like this. Alright, beautiful. That caused our bridge to completely collapse. Now this is my predominant experience with bridges so far. It's not me building successful bridges, it's me building bridges that completely collapse. I think we need like a suspension cable like this, and just like straight. I wanted it straight. Let's try it again. Suspension cable, boom, boom. Suspension cable, boom, boom. Okay, simulate. Oh, okay, simulate. Well, it's kind of holding. If by kind of you mean like absolutely not at all. Single piece of heavy steel should solve that problem. Oh! Seemed closer. I'm totally fucked, aren't I? I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay, let's start from scratch, and I'm gonna give this one more attempt, then I'm probably gonna stop the video. We're gonna have to undo like crazy here to get back to where we were. But suffice it to say, you know, Bridget is... it's the kind of game that I kind of can completely justify paying $5 for. I've spent one comical and frustrating afternoon with it so far. Not frustrating because of the mechanics usually, just frustrating because I suck at this game. But like Kerbal Space Program, it's a game that, you know, rewards experimentation, and is a lot of fun. I think if you have kind of like a background or a proficiency in engineering, this will be a lot more entertaining for you than it is for me, but at the same time, I also, obviously we're not going to use heavy steel for that, because it's way too damn expensive. But at the same time, I've had a lot of fun with it so far, in spite of the fact that I'm completely ridiculously inept when it comes to stuff like this. Now, it is $5, I think that's a reasonable price for it on Desura, but I'm going to be definitely voting for this game on Steam Greenlight, just because, you know, it's not broken like a lot of the games that are coming out on Greenlight, and it's equally crazy to a lot of games that are coming out on Steam Greenlight, so I feel like it's kind of a perfect fit. Can we seriously just not use heavy steel to, like, make this bridge for us? Like, do we even need to use suspension cable? This seems much stronger. Obviously, I have no idea what I'm talking about, but what if I build, like, another base of iron down here? Again, just using some, like, triangles, because I don't know the industry term for them. And are we going to have enough money to reinforce this all with steel? It's unlikely. Heavy steel, I mean. But we're going to try regardless. We're going to be able to get close. Yeah, we're going to be able to do it. Let's try it. Alright, quite clearly, I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing here. We're going to give this one last attempt. Similarly, Bridget is, you might not know what to look at it, but it's one of those games where when you play it, you're just like, one more try, one more try. Oh, it's been an hour and I've made no progress whatsoever. Okay, here we go. Heavy cables, expensive, but also, or sorry, suspension cables, expensive, but also give us the potential to succeed here. Is that they asked for a majestic bridge? I gave them a majestic bridge. A majestic bridge that completely collapses. Anyway, let's go back. In terms of what you get for $5 here, you get the easy, medium, hard, and complex levels. There is an extra map pack, which I think requires buying DLC, but I'm not totally sure. Well, that just opened up a separate browser window, but in any case, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Bridget is now available on Desura, and you can vote for it on Steam Greenlight. I will put a picture, or not a picture, a link in the video description for you to vote for it on Greenlight or pick it up on Desura if you want to. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.